The Cowboys are already making moves to make sure they're in position to do some big spending. They got under the $301.2 million salary cap today by restructuring the contracts of Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Smith, the left guard. Prescott's base salary goes from $40 million to $1.8. Lamb's and Smith's drops to $1.7 in that range. The differences were turned into signing bonuses for cap purposes to free up space. And here's Jerry on the Cowboys' plans for free agency.
The only way to push more is for me to go borrow some of my future. Okay? Expect me to go borrow some of my future. I really can't accept just the thought of winning one Super Bowl and then what. I see a chance to put a team together and basically be knocking at the edge and get another one or get a chance at another one. I would bet that we will spend more money in free agency than we have.
Okay, over the last 5 seasons in the offseason, the Cowboys have spent $284 million in the free agency window, which is 2 days before the official start of free agency and extending 6 weeks. That is last in the NFL in that span. However, Dallas has spent the 6th most money in the league over the last 5 seasons. They just don't often do it during free agency. Okay, he says it, he talks it. It's not like he's saying I'm all in like we've heard in the past. But, Lewis, I'm giving you the opportunity to spend some money.
Yeah.
How should the Cowboys spend their money this offseason?
Yeah, the money's going to be spent on defense. And look, I think it has to be spent front to back, right? So you're going to start up front. I think you're good on the interior with your defensive tackles. You've already made enough moves at the defensive tackle spot that you figure that the interior pass rush is good to go. It's who can you get to come off of the edge? Who is the big game? Who can you go big game hunting for right now? I think obviously that has to start with Trey Hendrickson. I think you have to make a run at a guy like Trey because that would make your defensive front pretty formidable. Think about Quinnen Williams, Trey Hendrickson, Osa Odigizua. I mean, that's a pretty good group. Kenny Clark, that's a pretty good group. Donovan Ezra, who they drafted last year out of Boston College. Now you're cooking. Then in the draft, like obviously this isn't free agency spending, but who knows how much it'll cost to get Trey to come there because I think Indianapolis will be players because his old coach is there, right? Lou Anarumo's the defensive coordinator there who he had so much success with in Cincy. In the draft, that's when you go heavy on the secondary. That's where you go heavy at corner. You go heavy at safety. That's when you start thinking about Mansour Delane. You start thinking about guys like Dylan Thieneman from Oregon, a safety, a corner, guys who are hybrid dudes who are young, fast, big hitters, turn the football over. Now I think then you're talking about maybe getting that one Super Bowl that he's talking about that he says he wouldn't be satisfied with. He needs 2 or 3. Just get one. Just get to the playoffs and then win a game. Let's just start there.
You know, we're always trying to spend the Cowboys' money. I'm going to help Jerry out. Right now, his defensive tackle room is the most expensive defensive tackle room in football. So I think we need to trade one of those guys. Whichever one, you just traded for Quinnen Williams, so it's not going to be him. So either Kenny Clark or Odigizua, one of those guys to me has to go. And in turn, now what you said, Lewis, let's start enacting on that plan. Let's add some guys to come off the edge because you got to get pass rush. Doesn't matter who's calling the defense. If you don't have guys that can make the ball come out, it does not matter. And then once we address the front, let's then get to the back end. But there's no doubt, defensively is where they need to go. But before they start spending some money, I don't think you can have as much money as they have tied up at the defensive tackle position. You can only play 2 unless you're going to play a bear front, which is center and both guards are covered. I don't know many teams are playing that as their base. So you can only play 2 defensive tackles. They have a lot of money tied up in those 3 guys.
All right, let's spend Jerry's money since we're all doing it here. Offensively, they're good. I think offensively, Dak Prescott playing like a top 2 or 3 quarterback last year. I think that's a top 5 offense. Go to defense. What both you guys said, it starts with the defensive line, then the linebackers, then the secondary. They need the most help there. You cannot leave free agency without either landing Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby. One of those 2 guys to make a splash, finally come through on your promise, Jerry, of giving the Dallas Cowboys something they need. And I love the fact that you're going to do it building from the front to the back. Because if you get to the quarterback faster, that makes your job easier in the secondary. If you can have up double teams, like you guys know, linebackers can roam free. I think without a doubt, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson would shore up that defensive line. And I love Lewis's idea of going in the draft and spending for corner and safety, but you have to land either Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the Trey's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one to go get. There's going to be a lot of teams who are going to look at someone like Trey Hendrickson and go, yeah, he could help put us over the top. New England's going to look at him. Chicago's going to look at him. So look, there's going to be a bidding war, and Jerry is going to have to spend some of that future money, no question. I'd love to see Max Crosby there too. I just don't know if John Spytek is going to be willing to go ahead and come off of a guy who is ultimately one of the great Raiders of all time. He really embodies everything that is a Raider. So Jerry, I know he may be willing to spend money. I just don't know if he wants to give up compensation in terms of draft picks, and that's what it's going to cost. Maybe 2 1s, at least a 1 and a 2, maybe a future 1, in 27. It's going to cost a lot, but hey, if you say you're going all in, then go all in and put your money where your mouth is.
And you talk about the defense. They finished last in the league in points per game and 30th in yards per game last season, obviously led by a fantastic offense. And we have some breaking news here. Legendary former Notre Dame head coach Lou Holtz has died at the age of 89, his family announced on Wednesday. A college football Hall of Famer, Holtz led the Fighting Irish to the national championship in 1988. Before that, he also had a brief NFL coaching stint, leaving the college ranks to coach the New York Jets in 1976, going 3-10 before resigning in December that season. Lou famously said upon his departure, "God did not put Lou Holtz on this earth to coach in the pros." Holtz, as a college head coach, won 249 games. He was a former colleague here at ESPN, and we will all miss Lou Holtz. Patriots have informed him he will be released at the start of the league year. Ties to finances, cap charge was spiking from $10.5 million to $26.5 million. All right, more breaking news here as the Rams and Chiefs have agreed to trade all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to L.A. for a package of draft picks that includes this year's first-round pick, 29th overall, 5th and 6th-round picks, and a 2027 third-round pick. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes got to the point among Kansas City players to react on social media after the news of the trade, just writing, "Damn," in a post on X this afternoon. And back here with Boog, Lewis, and Chase. I talked about this earlier. McDuffie's only 25 years old. Now he leaves one Super Bowl contender to another Super Bowl contender. Boog, your thoughts on the Chiefs deciding to move him?
Well, I think when you look at the top of the cornerback market, you got, Derek Stingley Jr., Sauce Gardner. Those guys are making $30 million a year. And it's clear that the Chiefs weren't going to invest $30 million a year into Trent McDuffie. Just look at their history. When you go back to Marcus Peters, L'Jarius Sneed, now Trent McDuffie, they're not going to pay their best corner or even a corner that deserves top of the market money. They're just not going to do it. And so now this solves that problem because now you get a first-round pick back. You get several picks back, actually, and it allows you to use those picks to either go on offense or help the pass rush up front. And if you're the Rams on the other side, I think from a Rams standpoint, this turns one of the weakest parts of your team into a strong suit because you have arguably a top 3 corner in football. So oftentimes, Kevs, when worlds collide and you get a win-win situation, those are the types of trades that I love to see, Chase. And this trade here is a win-win for both teams based on where they are and the Chiefs' philosophy of not paying cornerbacks and the Rams needing a corner as they are in win-now mode.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I do think it's a win-win for both teams. The Rams get their star all-pro corner, but I really like this from the Chiefs. And it's hard to say that when you lose a 25-year-old all-pro player. But when you look at it, they are following the exact same path they did with Tyreek Hill and other corners that you mentioned. They trade them away, they get 4 picks, and they build through the draft. There's not many other GMs in the league that I trust more than Brett Veach. The success is there, everything about it. They draft and develop specifically on the defensive side of the football, these corners. When I played there and I played against Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator, I'm